Taito. Taito's a legend in the world of classic gaming. They still continue to make progress today. I have been playing on my Nintendo Switch. Current reboot of this game, the Ninja Saviors. This is a Japanese version of the Super Nintendo Ninja Warriors game. It's called the Ninja Warriors Return. I don't think it's called that in the United States. I assume it's called the Ninja Warriors Return because there is a game already called the Ninja Warriors on the arcade, TurboGrafx 16, and Sega CD. So I assume that's why this is the Ninja Warriors Return. This is titled as much. My friend Ian just bought a Super Nintendo flash cart with Japanese and American games on it from AliExpress, the same place I got mine. And he thinks that the SD card had a virus on it that stole all of his passwords from his phone. So yeah, $15, $20 flash cart. I guess they're $20 now because of the tariffs. They seem too good to be true. Maybe that's because they are. Maybe they have these secret Trojan horses in them that steal passwords. He's got a notification that his passwords have been compromised. Green blood. I'm gonna have to reset this and see if I can get red blood. Nope, there was no option for red blood. Switch version has red blood, but it doesn't even say red blood. It just says like something like color options. There's red blood in the arcade and Sega CD game too. It's not on Super Nintendo. And this is the Japanese version too. The blood on Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo in Japan is green as well. But I think the I'm 100% sure the American version of this game has green blood as well. So green blood it is. This actually looks like the exact same game as the one I've been playing on Switch. Like seriously, I don't know if it is the exact same game. We'll see. But it so far it's the exact same game. I've played this game before, but I thought that the one on Switch was different. Yep, same special moves. Let's see if we can do the same special jump. She has like this jump that you do where she slashes the sword. No, there's no special jump. So it is. I guess the Switch version is just souped up version of this. Yeah, I could have recorded this on my Switch, but I already did, and the sound was all fucked up, and I just didn't feel like dealing with fucking fucked up sound again. I've been dealing with that for like 2 weeks now. I've even taken a break from posting on YouTube because of it, because I was driving myself mad trying to fix the sound on my streaming device. This tried and true iPhone on a tripod is the way to go. Gives you that warm fuzzy feeling filming a CRT TV. My microphone for my iPhone, my lapel microphone I bought over a year ago. Sounds so much better than any USB microphone I've purchased trying to recreate the crystal clear sound of this one. I should have jumped on the opportunity to buy the USB-C version when I had the chance. I swear it was on Amazon. I have proof it was on Amazon because it says currently unavailable now. And it only has this version, which is a lightning plug. Yes, my iPhone is so old it uses a lightning connector, not a USB-C. I know all the new ones use USB-C. Yeah, this is slightly different. Well, no, it isn't. It's going to start hailing bombs. Yeah, here comes the bombs. They'll blow up the guy. They'll blow up the guys, and if I don't watch out, if I got to stay out of a little shadow. See, they'll bomb me. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't change it very much for the Switch version. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, and I had to do this tonight. I don't even know if I'm gonna post it, because if I do post it, I won't post it until early November. Today's mid-October. I promised myself I wouldn't post anything till after Halloween, but I don't know if I. Yeah, the guy's way bigger in the Switch version. The way I beat him was ducking down, so maybe this guy can be beaten by ducking down as well. You can throw nunchucks in the Wii version if you jump up and press. See, I see that little sword blinking. Maybe I can throw nunchucks in this one somehow, and I just don't know what buttons. There's no option menu in this, and there's no control scheme picture, so I'm going in this blind. But yeah, I've had a fucking hell of a day. Hell of a day. Just what a day, man. I'm a Libra. Well, Libra Virgo cusp. But I consider myself a Libra, if you want to get into the zodiac. It's debatable whether it's psychedelic horse shit or not anyway. But as a Libra, at least the image I've created of myself is someone who doesn't like confrontation. But I was forced into a very stressful, very heated confrontation today. We're talking, accusations of me that could land me in jail. And I guess I've had several other false accusations of me that I'm going to go over tonight. But I can't talk about today's false accusation too much because it was so upsetting and so dire and so frankly dangerous to my own safety and well-being, health, that I am taking this to court. My sister's a lawyer. She's already drawn up the paperwork. We're going to court over this, so I can't talk about it too much. But I'll tell you what, there was some fucking bullshit. And the motherfucker who did it, he thought he was tough shit. He was staring me down. Just fucking, he thought he had something that he could intimidate me by just like fucking staring at me. But he wouldn't explain himself whatsoever. Wouldn't answer any of my questions. Wasn't interested in any of my proof to totally disprove his false accusations. And it was the most bullshit, convoluted, unrealistic false accusation I think I've ever been accused of. Some other false accusations I've been accused of, that I will talk about tonight, I can see where the people are coming from. But this one, is just in today's surveillance society, with all the computerized records and databases and shit like that, logistically impossible. It's not possible. It's just it can't be done. What he was accusing me of, maybe like in the 80s it could have been done, but we live in a techno surveillance state, a digital age, and everything is on is on digital, digitally, on record. So I think the motherfucker was just a piece of shit making shit up, and he didn't think that, I don't know what he was thinking. He didn't think I'd say something about it. He didn't think that I'd do something about it. I don't. He must be fucking the dumbest son of a bitch in the entire world if he's gonna accuse me of some shit like this and think that I won't do anything about it. I went right up there and I said, he said, "What's your question?" I said, "Why are you falsely accusing me of committing a felony?" So I said to him. I won't go into it anymore. But he wouldn't say shit. He knew his goose was cooked. He wouldn't say a goddamn thing. He wouldn't defend himself. He wouldn't even say his last name. Because he knew he was full of shit. He's going to pay for it. He's going to pay. That's all I can say about it. That's all I can say. I can say that it made someone I care about cry. It made me extremely upset. Luckily, people in my life that are allies took care of the situation, and I won't be dealing with this motherfucker ever again until I see him in court. But it caused me quite a bit of emotional damage. I'm still shook up about it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get over this. Because like I said, I avoid all confrontation. If someone, people try to fuck with me all the time while I'm riding down the beeline. Ne'er-do-wells and shit like that. Trying to, challenge how tough I am or my masculinity, or trying to have a conversation of butting heads, But I walk away. I avoid all human contact, whether positive or negative. I just walk away. That's my philosophy in life. Keep walking. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Because it's just not worth my time. It really isn't. I'm not looking to get in a fist fight with someone to defend my honor or any shit like that. I'm not a person that I'm not a prideful, boastful person. I have absolutely nothing to prove. So that's why I just walk away. I just keep scooting. I keep riding on my scooter. I just I pass these motherfuckers by. But today was a situation where I had absolutely no choice in confronting the situation, defending myself head on. Because when it all comes down to it, it could have ended up being a life or death situation. I want to play this game because in my Billy Game Chaser dedication video, I I looked in both my NES carts, flash carts, and they weren't on here. The other Flintstones game was on here, but this is the rare Flintstone game the Game Chasers found. It looks like it's a little glitchy too. But yeah, we'll talk about my first false accusation that I can remember as a child. After my parents got divorced, we had to go to daycare after school because my dad wouldn't give my mom child support, so she had to have a job. He was a piece of shit, and he blackmailed her for being a lesbian, and avoided giving child support. So we had to live in shitty apartments instead of our suburban home where we're used to. When parents get divorced, they're supposed to the richer parent is supposed to give child support, so the other parent can have the kid live the same standard of life that they're used to. But I mean, I had to live in fucking Gibsonton, which is a carny town outside of my hometown in Valrico, Florida. But I digress. Yeah, we had to go to daycare. I always wanted maybe like someone our family knew we could stay at their house instead of going to daycare. Can't play this glitchy fucking game. First we tried our next door neighbor, Miss Ann, who took care of our next door neighbor, Bradley. We called him Rattle. He called her Nanny. He'd make her she would make him saltine crackers with butter. And she thought about being my nanny too, but falsely accused of being a problem child. That's what happens when you're different, or a weirdo, or mentally ill, or whatever the fuck is wrong with me. People single you out. But then, as my sister's best friend's mom, Patty Borchek, she thought she maybe would try to give us a chance because it was my sister's best friend. Why not watch us for 3 hours after school so I don't have to go to fucking miserable daycare and drink watered down Kool-Aid and stale graham crackers? My sister would sit there and stare at a board game Memory, I think it was called, where you match up the two pictures. She'd just sit there and stare at the slice of pizza memory card all day, the whole time during latchkey because she was just starving. We had to eat lunch at like 10 a.m. at school, so it's like fucking 4:30 in the afternoon. Haven't eaten since 10 a.m. They give you watered down Kool-Aid and stale graham crackers when you first get there. That's it. That's what you eat until you go home at 5-6 o'clock. Yeah, I can't play this game. I'll continue on the story with another game. Okay, yeah. This is Patty Borchek. She's going to give us a chance so we would have to go to latchkey. She didn't have a fucking job. Her husband was maybe worked for Lockheed Martin, or maybe he was but she didn't have a job. And they had a CD-ROM computer. I wanted to play CD-ROM computers. I didn't have a CD-ROM computer back then. We eventually got a Macintosh CD-ROM computer, but that didn't have fucking games on it. Macintoshes, I don't know if they're still this way today. Well, I guess you can install Windows on Macintosh today. But back in the day, if you had a Macintosh, Performa, like they had in school. It was the exact same computer they had in school. Didn't have games on it. I had one game. Well, I had two games: Marathon and The Seventh Guest. Patty Borchek, she had the CD-ROM. They called them an IBM compatible back then. It's probably running Windows 3.0. I used to love to go on that CD-ROM computer. But one day after we went home from her house, Patty Borchek calls my mom having a fit, saying I threw a dumbbell in the bottom of her swimming pool. I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? But she insisted. Problem child throws a dumbbell in the bottom of her swimming pool. We called it the weight in the swimming pool incident. Turns out her son Adam Borchek, he was probably about 16, 17 years old at the time. He did it as a joke, as a practical joke, and he swam down and got it. But even after her son admitted to it, she said that I was no longer welcome at her house and I had to go back to daycare because of the weight in the pool. That was the first significant false accusation I can remember in my life where I just realized people were full of shit. And there's just bad people in this world that just make excuses to do false accusations because they don't like someone. And she just didn't want to babysit me. She wanted me to be stuck in daycare. So she just stuck with the weight in the pool story, even though it was completely disproven. I think I was probably in the 4th grade when that happened. I think we got our Macintosh Performa when I was in the 5th grade, so I guess I didn't have to go without CD-ROM for that long. Yeah, and it was definitely Windows 3.0 because 4th grade for me was 94, 95, and I don't believe Windows 95 came out until mid to late 95 when I was in the 5th grade. But yeah, that was the first false accusation I remember. I'm sure there were others after that. But the next significant one I remember was in high school. We were all partying at this guy Casey's house. And he was dating my ex-girlfriend from middle school, Tasha, who was my friend. We just became friends. We're better as friends than as lovers, because she just I think some people are just incapable of monogamy. And she was talking to this guy Alex Sanchez. Yeah, she was talking to this guy Alex Sanchez while we were dating, and they were talking on AOL Instant Messenger all the time and shit. He was saying I treated her like shit and just trying to get her steal her away from me. And I don't like trifling ass shit, so I wrote her a little note on notebook paper and dumped her ass. And then what did she do? Start going out with Alex Sanchez. But then she started dating Casey in high school, and when she was dating Casey, she started talking to this guy Tony Walter. So then she started and dumped Casey for him, and then she married Tony Walter, and dumped Tony Walter when she started talking to our friend Ryan Harkness, and moved on to him. So that it's a pattern. That's what she does. Back to the false accusation. Tasha, me, Casey. There were other people there. I don't remember who else. But the other person that made the false accusation that night was this girl, Sarah Rinovich. And the fucked up part is that she was hot and she was a hoe. So I thought I was even going to get some that night. She was like, Casey had a scanner or a photocopy or something, and she was like taking scans of her boobs and stuff, and I took a scan of my dick, and I just felt like maybe I'm going to get some tonight. Then all of a sudden, she flipped the bitch switch on me and accused me of stealing something out of her purse. And she lost her fucking mind. She was like the Exorcist, screaming at me, telling me she's heard about me, she knows about me, she knows what I'm like. It was her birthday present that I stole. I'm not going to say what it was. I don't want to get into that. But she just lost her goddamn mind. And I didn't get any that night. And guess who stole it? Tasha. Cheater girl. Because Tasha, I've said this before on the channel. I think she stole my Game Boy Advanced. I know that she stole my whole entire CDRs used to come on like a spool of stacked on top of each other CDs on the CD-ROM case, and people used to just put their CDs that they bought. They're just regular CDs, not CD-ROMs. It's kind of like the case, like a carrying case for their CDs. I had a full stack of punk CDs in my room, and I know she stole that because I got them back about a year later. Some of them were cracked and stuff, but I blackmailed her to get those back. But yeah, she stole it. She stole Sarah Rinovich's birthday present. I got screamed at. I didn't get any that night. I kind of felt like it was a sure thing too. And when I found out that she's the one that stole it, I told Sarah Rinovich, and she apologized, but the damage was already done. So that was the second major false accusation that scarred me. I remember. I mean, it was in comparison, it was nothing to the shit that I got accused of today. And definitely way more justified with just, she said, like I said, she said she had heard about me. She knew my reputation back then. And I did steal stuff back then sometimes, but usually not from people I knew and stuff like that. Mostly just like books from Barnes and Noble and stuff, because they had a no chase policy. But yeah, that was the second false accusation that I can really remember. And we'll move on to the next game, and I'll go into the next false accusation that arguably was worse than the false accusation that happened today. I'd say they're about equal. All right. Next big false accusation. The big kahuna of my childhood. It still haunts me to this day and still gives me nightmares. I grew up in high school in the post-Columbine era. Columbine happened my last month in the 8th grade. Which makes me think, the Columbine people were fucking stupid because they were seniors in high school and they did it at the end of their senior year. Who knows? They could have gone on to college and done great things with their life. Why, commit suicide and kill people that you'll never see again when you have like a month left of seeing them? And just, they're stupid. It makes no sense. But most people know this, but their original plan was they were going to blow up the school. They weren't. They were going to shoot people that, like, survivors of the bomb, but they built like a bomb out of a. They built a bomb out of a propane tank, but it didn't go off because it was the detonation device was a plastic Mickey Mouse clock that couldn't ignite the fuse or whatever because it was plastic and it needs to be metal to ignite the fuse. So they failed at bombing the school. But when I say the post-Columbine era, and I guess we still live in that today. There's before Columbine and after Columbine. There was all these copycats, school shooters, and there still are to this day. Kind of glamorize and romanticize Columbine. Also, when I was in high school, 9/11 happened. So after that, those two things. Well, there's blood in this. I guess because it's the Japanese version. I don't remember blood being in the Super Nintendo version of Dracula X or Rondo of Blood or whatever the fuck it's called. The inferior version of the TurboGrafx 16 version. And there was a period of time. Actually, scratch that. My entire high school career, it seemed like sometimes it felt like, seriously, I can't under-exaggerate this enough. Or I can't exaggerate this enough. I can't understate this enough. There were so many fucking bomb threats. It was unbelievable. They'd make a little announcement on the speaker at school, and you had to leave class, and stand outside for the day until it was cleared. We spent hours each week just standing outside. I remember one day I took Viagra and ate a hot habanero pepper the same day and threw up the habanero pepper during the bomb threat, and went home and jerked off for the whole rest of the day. But all these fucking bomb threats, threats of anthrax attacks, threats of just threats and threats and threats. I think a lot of people made bomb threats just to get out of class if they had a test that day or something. But it never stopped. It would just, again, I mean, sometimes it was a relief because sometimes you did have a test that day, and you're glad that you didn't have to take the test. You go outside. But overall, it was really fucking annoying because you just want to get through your day at school and not get behind in your classwork, and it was just a big. Well, the thing about it was, even though, you know, everybody was 99% sure it was bullshit, there was still a looming fear that maybe, it really is real this time. So one day, I'm late for class. First period, I have African American history class. I walk into the staircase, and I find a piece of paper on the ground. It's in a very girly handwriting, but it's like a schoolwork paper of this kid I'd known since like middle school. But obviously someone had gotten his schoolwork paper, erased it, and then wrote the bomb threat on it because it was in totally different handwriting. It was in that kind of bubbly, girly, hot girl handwriting. And it was covered in swastikas. But all the swastikas were backwards. Someone didn't know what a swastika looked like. They drew all these backward swastikas on it. And I didn't know. I mean, when you find something like that, what the fuck are you supposed to do? I did what I thought I should do. Maybe this is real. It's probably not. But if it was real, and I did get blown up, I could have prevented that. So I went into the office, asked for the school resource officer, and I handed it to him. And then I went to class. Got my tardy slip. About 20 minutes later, the school nurse walks into my African American history class. And asked me to come down to the office. I thought maybe they were going to ask me a few more questions, like where I found it and stuff like that. But no. I'm taken into the school resource officer's office, and I'm read my Miranda rights. They searched through my locker. They searched through my notebook that I left in my African American history class. And I had some like papers that I had made in my African American history class of like hate symbols and stuff and stereotypes, and it had a swastika on there. But mind you, it was a proper swastika, going to the right hand side, not the Buddhist symbol of peace and tranquility. But they tried to say, since I had this diagram of hate symbols from my African American history class, and this bomb threat had backward swastikas on it, that somehow I was the one that made the bomb threat, even though I'm the one that fucking turned it in. So they basically try to say I wrote a bomb threat and walked into the office and handed it straight to the school resource officer. Because that's what people always do when they make an anonymous threat, right? That's what they tried to say. And I thought I was under arrest, but he just read me my rights. I was just being detained or questioned or whatever. And he couldn't do anything beyond that within his legal authority. But they brought in some kind of guy from the school board, since they couldn't do it legally, to try to coerce me into a false confession. And he did everything he could to try to coerce me into a false confession. It was like torture. It was almost like he almost fucking broke me. That I wanted to false confess just to fucking get it over with. But I'm not that stupid. He was like, if we evacuate the school, you're going to be in a lot more trouble. You just get a slap on the wrist if you just admit that you did it, but we're going to evacuate the school soon, and then you're in deep shit. But I'm not fucking stupid. I can see how they got that retarded dude, or mentally handicapped, I should say, to falsely confess to the Memphis 3 things because he had an IQ of like 70, and they just broke him down for hours and hours and hours until he finally just made some shit up because he was mentally retarded or mentally handicapped. But it taught me how these false confessions happen, because that's what they it's coercion. But he didn't break me. I was let out in handcuffs in front of the entire school, put in a cop car. My parents, my dad was a criminology professor. My mom was a probation officer. So they came in, defended me. I had to see the cops screaming at my mom, but she didn't back down. She eventually got that school resource officer fired. He wasn't there the next year. Saw him moonlighting down in Centro Ybor a few years later. Piece of shit. Real tall glass of water. I always fantasized about chopping his legs off to the kneecaps with a chainsaw. So like I said, some of the false accusations, I can see where they're coming from. But today's false accusation, totally unwarranted. And that's why it's probably the most revolting and damaging false accusation I've ever encountered in my life. And that's saying a lot. But yeah, I I was put on a indefinite suspension from school until they did a handwriting sample and all this bullshit. And eventually, I was able to go back to class, and they never apologized. I wish I would have sued. Hindsight, but I was just a kid. I didn't know about suing. My dad should have done the suing. He was a lawyer. Um, that's neither here nor there. I'm lucky. I had parents to defend me that were in law enforcement. Um, just like I'm lucky today that I have a sister that's a lawyer. So I'm going to sue the fuck out of this motherfucker that fucked me over today. But we'll get into the next game and go over a false accusation that haunted me for years and years and years. And I'm finally over it. But it did quite a bit of damage to my reputation and my enthusiasm for the punk rock scene. Okay. The false accusation that ruined punk rock for me. I thought this game was going to be cooler. It's called Curse, but it's just a fucking shmup. And it's a fucking low frame rate shmup. Jesus Christ. I'm probably going to switch games, but I'm gonna start on this story. This goes all the way back to 2004. There's a girl in my drummer's record label. And I loved her band. I used to love it when they would come to town. They were from Texas. And I was supposed to go with my friend Emily for spring break to visit her, and I was very excited about the prospect of that because I was kind of a fanboy. Emily gets a medical issue. I'm moving on to the next game. Okay, Emily gets a medical issue. So I emailed the Texas girl in the band. Sorry, I'm not going to make it. We're not coming for spring break. Emily's has a medical issue. I was looking forward to hanging out, but I guess it's not going to happen. I guess I didn't email her that. I wrote it to her on Friendster because she's the one who introduced me to Friendster. She had introduced me to Friendster earlier that year, sometime in September. And surprisingly, when I told her I wasn't coming, she said, "No, I want you to come. Emily doesn't have to come. I want to hang out with you." And I didn't know her that well. But I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll come." So I rode a Greyhound all the way there. Stayed for a week. She had a boyfriend, but she seemed unhealthily obsessed with me. She was 23, I was 19. She had a lot more life experience than me. She'd toured the country several times with her band, toured Mexico, probably Europe too, I don't know. She had a lot of life experience. And she was obsessed with Devander Barnhart and Vincent Gallo. And the Vincent Gallo part kind of gives reference to this false accusation. I leave, and I don't go back to school for spring break. That's why some people started calling me Spring Break Forever, because I got my dad's life insurance money and never went to school again. So as soon as I got that life insurance money, about a month later, after daily constant MySpace and Facebook interactions with this girl, I'd call it an emotional affair, an obsessive affair. She was completely obsessed with me. And I guess I was obsessed with her too, but I was just a kid. I didn't know anything about love. But yeah, I bought a brand new hybrid car, and we got drunk and went to a goth club one night. She was harboring a lot of hatred and resentment for me, and I knew it. But I tried to like make it better by coming to visit her again. But I had deleted my MySpace, which was like our main form of communication, and it just kind of ruined everything. There was no going back from that. It made her cry. It really upset her. So I think this was her plot for revenge. But she had told me she was suicidal and all this stuff, and she wanted to get away from her life and her job and all this stuff like that. And we had tentatively made a plan to run away to LA, to Hollywood. But we went to this goth club. I'm pretty sure it was on 420. I'm positive it was on 420, 2004. Went to this goth club. We were dancing all over each other that night, and once again, like Sarah Rinovich, I thought, oh, hey, maybe I'm going to get some. And then her boyfriend comes up to me. This was like out of nowhere. And he said the two of them were going to get married. So that was soul crushing to me. I thought I was going to run away with her to Hollywood. So we went back to her house that night, and I tried one last time to get her to run away to Hollywood with me before she got married to her boyfriend. And I'll say what happened on this next game. Okay, so yeah. Try one last Hail Mary move. For some reason, I take a picture she has on her front porch of a tiger. I ask her to come outside. And I say, let's run away. Let's go. Don't get married. You got to rethink this. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's start a new life. And she says, okay, let me go grab something inside. She goes and grab something inside, but she doesn't come out with something. I thought she's going to grab her fanny pack or something. She comes out with the boyfriend. So I drive away. That's the last time I saw her. And she actually did get married to that boyfriend the very next day. So she really broke my fucking heart. But like I said, her favorite actor, artist, whatever, was Vincent Gallo. And he has a movie called Buffalo 66, where he kidnapped Christina Ricci. And that's the only reason why I can comprehend why she made this accusation, which, thinking back in the self mythology of my life, I think she said this in jest. But she's just very upset when I talked to her on the phone the next day and was MySpacing her and stuff like that. And she said something to the effect of, "You tried to kidnap me," which, there was no physical, I didn't grab her, I didn't try to force her into the car. I just said, "Let's run away." I guess I, I, I just said, "Come outside. I want to show you something." And then I said, "Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's run away." But I didn't like grab her or anything that could be any legal or social or colloquial or whatever word you want to call it, any way be interpreted as kidnapping. And I said, and as I mentioned, she probably said it in jest. Um, because she never said that again. She tried to be friends with me again, and we kept talking for a while, but I stopped talking to her when I got a new girlfriend because my new girlfriend wouldn't let me talk to her anymore. But another one of my favorite musicians at the time, Chris Clavin, I end up kind of being his roadie on a tour. And it was right after all this shit happened. And I had that picture of a tiger with me while I was performing. I guess just because that was the last thing I had to remember this failed romantic venture. And I was still heartbroken. I mean, this was days after it happened. And I told Chris Clavin the story. Said the thing she said about kidnapping. I never took it to heart. Never took it seriously. But he really clung on to that. And he started calling me the tiger. And he was telling everyone that I was called the tiger because I tried to kidnap someone. He went around spreading that rumor for years. And I came to realize it was because he was threatened by me. I was getting more applause than him on the tour because he started letting me play a little bit. Girls were asking me to sleep in their bed with them in different towns, and I think he was just threatened by me. I was younger than him. He was like 31. I was 19. He carried this secret animosity towards me. I realized that after all these years because he was my hero. And I was kind of blinded by my admiration for him. Because he had been my favorite band since I was like 14 years old. It was a dream come true to go on tour with my favorite band. But he spread this rumor about me. He recorded me telling the story about how I got the name the Tiger, and I jokingly said this girl tried to this girl thought I was trying to kidnap her, just as a joke. I didn't think that it was going to be like released anywhere or anything like that. But he put it on a Wingnut Dishwashers album, which is Pat the Bunny, aka Johnny Hobo. who ended up being like the biggest name in folk punk, probably besides Against Me, who invented folk punk. But Pat the Bunny was kind of the face of folk punk. So a lot of people had that recording. So a lot of people thought I was a kidnapper. And I didn't know about it till years later. This kid told me about it. But I thought about it, and people treated me. I always wondered why people treated me like I was crazy. Like people called me a wild ass, a wild man. I had a bad reputation in the Planet X scene. And I think it all goes back to Chris Clavin falsely accusing me of being a kidnapper. And then on my 31st birthday, he he's like, tell people why you're called the Tiger. And I told the story in a joking way, much like on the recording. And this girl he liked came to my birthday party that night, and she wrote me a little love letter for my birthday. She even wrote love and then her name at the end of the love letter. And she asked me out on a date that night for the next day to go out to lunch. This place, Rush Hour Station. It's a Vietnamese restaurant, great banh mi's. But then she never called me back the next day. She never I guess she had been scared by the tiger story. And that made me realize that's why Chris Clavin is always talking about this fucking tiger story, and that's why he calls me the Tiger. And that's why he loves telling people that story. He put it on an album because I was his sexual competition. And he did end up dating that girl. And I said, as soon as I found out they were dating, I said that's going to ruin him. He took her on tour to do her poetry, and he was performing. I said, by the end of that tour, mark my words, he will be a ruined man. And that's exactly what happened. He was outed by his girlfriend he left for the poet girl. She said that he sexually assaulted her, and then all these people came out saying that he had done creepy things to them. And he was ruined. Changed his name to Leo Finn. Moved out of Bloomington. He was actually he was like mobbed out of town. Like a mob of anarchists showed up and told him to never come back to town again, or they'd kill him or some shit. So he's assumed an entire new identity. But not before he got one last false accusation on me right after the whole birthday party thing. A few days after the birthday party was the blood moon. It was a blood moon. It was the first time I had heard of a blood moon. And they were having some kind of thing with the blood moon, and the poet girl invited me to come to it. And I said, well, just give me a call and I'll come. She never called me. I didn't really give a shit. I don't fucking care. Don't want to call me? Don't call me. I don't chase them. I replace them. I could care less. She had really bad BO anyway. But I get a text from Chris Clavin the night of the blood moon. And he says, we're at the blood moon thing. We saw you. We saw you following us around in the woods. Why are you following us around? What's wrong? Is something wrong with you? Are you okay? I was at my friend Jana's house. and I had just busted my ass on my skateboard, so I was not in a good mood. And I was not about to be falsely accused of some bullshit like following somebody through the woods. So that after that, I was done with Chris Clavin. I stopped talking to him. He came to my house, tried to reconcile. I completely called him out for being a sexual predator because I knew about it before it all came out. It didn't come out until a few years later to the public, but I knew he was obsessed with this girl Bella, and I just knew he liked stealing people's girlfriends, and he just had an unhealthy obsession, and was prone to coercive control. And since then, since that whole incident, that's when I was 31 years old. That was kind of, I guess that was 10 years ago. I'm 41 now. That was kind of my last straw with humanity. I've kept to myself since then. I guess that was the beginning of my hermithood, of no longer socializing, no longer going to punk shows, no longer wanting to be part of the punk scene, no longer wanting to play shows, no longer play music. Just sitting at home, making YouTube videos, playing video games, watching YouTube. That was the beginning of the end, or that was the beginning of the new chapter of my life, of being a perma nerd, always online. What do they call it? Like perpetually online or whatever. That was the beginning of my neck beardhood. I never really recovered from that. All my human interactions since then, except for one friend I had, Cray, that stopped being friends with me because I wouldn't take down YouTube videos of him. That was the only real friend I had in town since then that I hung out with. Yeah, I've been pretty much alone ever since, because one way to not get false accusations against you and people try to ruin your reputation, avoid people altogether. I can't do that all the time because I have to go to the. So, yeah. For the first time in 10 years, I had another horrible false accusation against me today. And I feel like I had to say something about it. But like I said, I will be filing a lawsuit over this. I'm serious as a heart attack. And I'm not even sure if I'll post this video, because when you're involved in a lawsuit like this, you're not really supposed to talk about it. But I feel like I have been vague enough that I feel comfortable posting this. But it won't be posted till at least another 3 weeks or so. So I'll have plenty of time to decide whether I'm going to post this or not. But yeah, that's my history of false accusations and the damage they've done to my life. They do a lot of psychological damage. If I do something wrong, I take responsibility for it, because that's called character, and that's called integrity. I admit to my mistakes. And that's what makes being falsely accused that much worse. So, in conclusion, if anyone ever falsely accuses you of some bullshit, keep fighting. Don't let the bastards win. Take care of yourself and each other. Thank you very much. Bye bye.